You enjoyed doing this with all these kids?
Oh man, it was great. They were such a good, you know, they had great energy. The girls were lovely. They had really raised, nice, good spirit about them. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
They used to call me Film Daddy.
Yeah.
Film
Daddy.
They had their real daddy on the set, and then they had me. They said, "No, Daddy, which one? Film Daddy.
Yeah.
Can we get some candy?" Yeah.
Before I get into your work, which is fascinating, tell me about this name, Idris Elba. It's a quite, not that Tavis isn't, but Idris Elba is a lot more interesting and fascinating. Tell me about your name.
Idris, actually, Idris is short for Idrissa, which is a Sierra Leonean name. I've never ever told anyone that before in public, but Idrissa is my name, and it's a Sierra Leonean name. But Idris is commonly is a Northern African name. I want to say from Liberia. It's also an Indian name, but they spell it differently, Idris, and it's a Welsh name. And there's a mountain in Wales called the Idris, Cadair Idris, yeah.
This accent, so you're not from around these parts?
Not from these parts, no. I'm from East London parts.
East London parts.
Yeah.
And that experience for a brother is what, growing up?
You know, not too dissimilar from my experience living in New York when I was, when I first arrived here.
Yeah.
You know, it's London is a great city. It's a huge metropolis. You know, there's an Afro-Caribbean community there. And, you know, my best years are in London. I can't front on that. I love London. I love going back home. Especially, I love living here now. I live here now, stay in New York, and, you know, I love to go back to London to compare. You know, it's an interesting thing.
And what do you take note of in your comparisons, your comparison and contrast?
America is so much bigger than England. America, everything about America is bigger, from the infrastructure to the personality types, you know what I'm saying? So when I get back home, I'm a bigger version of myself. Yeah. And so my boys have to be like, yeah, oh, mate, dude, you're not in New York now.
Yeah, bring it down. Yeah, bring it down.
Chill out. You're talking too loud here. You're too confident right now.
You know, everybody that leaves New York has that experience. You walk out talking too loud and being overconfident. But I love New York.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
tell me about Daddy's Little Girl. This is a first of all, for those who don't know Tyler Perry, that last movie he did was a huge success, and he surprised a lot of people with what he's been able to do on the black film. In the black film genre, and now Daddy's Little Girl. So tell me about the storyline.
I mean, the story is it's an untypical story. You know, this is a character, a man that lives in a community. He loves his community. He comes from a relationship with a high school girlfriend. They have 3 children from that relationship, and obviously they go their separate ways. And he looks after the kids with the assistance of her grandma. Early on in the film, the grandma passes and the kids are on his hands. So in order to look after his kids, he takes on a side job. And basically what happens, he ends up in a situation where his kids, you know, the social securities are like, you know, we're concerned for your kids, we're going to give them back to their mom. And so the story takes off into his fight for his children. He meets Gabrielle Union, who is a lawyer. That one of the jobs that he takes on as a side hustle is a driver. And he drives a high-profile lawyer, which is Gabrielle Union. And he ends up falling in love with her. He also asks her to represent him or she volunteers in the end to represent him in his case for his kids. It's an interesting story. It's definitely a twist. You know, we've seen a film where a woman has her 3 kids. She's in the hood and she's struggling. In this particular story, it's a man. With his 3 kids, he's struggling and falls in love with a high-powered woman.
I assume, knowing Tyler as I do, he's trying to make some statements here about black men, about fatherhood. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. I mean, and that's something that, you know, we had discussed in length when we were rehearsing. He wants to tell and change some perceptions that are out there. He definitely wanted to challenge the stereotype that black men don't look after their children. And I embraced that. You know, I'm a father, I look after my daughter. And I know 10 men right now that I could name that look after their children. So that was something that he wanted to challenge, and we did. There was the issue that black women can't find a man now. And Tyler raised that up, and that was, you know, Gabrielle's point of view, her character's point of view, and that was a big part of the film. And then there was the kids, the children, you know, what is it like to be raised in a single parent family? What's that like? What is that experience about? So there was definitely some, you know, Tyler had some specific ideas he wanted to get out there.
Yeah. Is this what you, I mean, you've done so many other characters in your career. Is this what you aspire to, this leading man role? Or do you, and I ask that only because, not to put you on the spot, but do you aspire to the leading man role, or do you like this character acting thing? So from The Wire and other things, you've done that character thing as well.
I aspire. I really enjoy being a character actor.
Right. For
sure. I think the leading man thing limits the type of roles I'm allowed to play, and also the type of you know. When people see me and understand me, and like I said, this is one of the first interviews that people are going to see me as me. You start to get, oh, wait a second, scrutiny, because, wait a second, you're a leading man, you have a British accent, are we going to believe you now when you start playing, So I prefer to go with the character roles where you can have more range, challenging, it's more challenging.
You mentioned a moment ago, as you said to me when you came on the set, this is one of the first interviews like this you have done. These sit-down, one-on-one conversations where the spotlight is on you and getting to know Idris. Does that make you uncomfortable? I mean, it's cool to be able to hide behind these characters that you play, and a lot of people prefer to stay there. And the movie theater makes you get out and sell these movies when you star in them. So I know Tyler made you show up today. Sell them tickets. I understand that, but that doesn't mean you're comfortable with it. You comfortable with this spotlight on?
I'm a little bit uncomfortable with it.
You're doing okay though.
I mean, it's one of those things. Travis, you're a professional and you're a nice man, so you and I can have a conversation and look you in the eye. Sometimes, journalists become so impersonable. It's very difficult to be real, and I hate to be fake. So I rather step back and why don't we talk about the character? Why don't you look at the character and we could talk about that? When it comes to talking about Idris, I can't do it unless you and I can have a real conversation.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to be a product.
Yeah.
Like that.
When did you know you wanted to do this acting thing? I mean, you hanging out in London and...
Yeah, I was like 12 years old, man, and it was a matinee of a Spider-Man movie, believe it or not. And it was in an area...
So Spider-Man hooked you?
Spider-Man?
Okay. I'll take that.
While all the other kids were climbing all over the seats,
I
was like, yo, I want to do that. Look at that. I was about 12 years old. And then, by the time I got to secondary school, the equivalent to high school, I had left school thinking and knowing that this is where I wanted to be. I had a music passion as well, but the acting seemed more realistic for me.
Yeah. Music as in an artist?
Yeah, I was a DJ.
Yeah.
I was a DJ and still am, but I wanted to do radio.
What do you mean still am? When do you do DJing now? Man, you're like acting and leading men roles. When do you find time to do the DJ
thing? You'd be surprised. Yeah. Everybody wants to have a party here and there, so I fly around the country.
You're serious?
Yeah.
And you still DJ?
I still DJ, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I still do it.
It
keeps my feet on the ground.
All right, so I like that. So what's your hook? Every DJ does something, has his own style. What's the Idris hook?
You know what?
On the DJ front?
When I was DJing, the thing about DJing, it's like riding a bike. And any DJ will tell you this: when you haven't done it for a while, okay, you're still good, but your connect to the audience isn't as on point. So the more you do it, the better you do it. Now, when I was DJing a lot in New York, my thing was I would be on the mic and the turntables at the same time. I like to talk to the crowd.
Right.
Kid Capri does that. He talks to the crowd. He gets them going.
Capri. Yeah.
But then it would depend on some. I used to do a lot of the bars in New York, the smaller bars, and it would. I could get to play every type of music, mix it up, and that was my little hook. Now, honestly, it's something that I do as fun. I enjoy it. Like I said, it keeps me connected to people because no matter what you're doing, I don't care if actor, athlete. If you say you DJing at my party, you better make me dance, and that's the truth. Because if you're bad, people don't dance. You feel bad, and that's the end of the party. So
see, who knew at the start of this conversation we get to know Idris Elba so well. So now he's a fine actor who you can see in Tyler Perry's new movie, Daddy's Little Girls. But more importantly, or as importantly, that the next time you're ready to get your groove on and have a party, you can book Driss, DJ Driss, to spin the records. Nice to meet you, man.
Thanks, man.
I'm glad to have you here.
Right.
That's our show for tonight. Catch me on the weekends on PRI, Public Radio International, our radio podcast available now at TavisTalkScott.com. I'll see you back here next time on PBS. Until then, good night from LA. Thanks for watching. Keep the faith. What you doing Saturday night?
I'm gonna put you on my new mixtape now. You just gave me the drop. I need that.